Congressman Roemer.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not a native New Yorker, and I certainly have a great deal of respect for the great citizens, first citizens of this city who were first responders in many ways and helped save tens and dozens and hundreds of lives. I have a lot of respect for the three of you as commissioners that showed heroic actions toward your fellow citizens and helped save people's lives as well. And I'll never forget reading the eulogy delivered by a father of a firefighter who happened to be his son. And the last words in this eulogy given by the father about his son was, "He is now in good hands. I wish he were in my hands." I'll never forget that. And one of our missions is to try to make sure that while you help save thousands and thousands of lives, if we can save 100 with our recommendations the next time, if we can save 50, if we can save a dozen or one, we want to do it. And we're not here to blame the three of you or anybody else, but to find answers, learn, and fix it. Because we know they're coming, and we know they might be coming back to New York City. So along those lines, Mr. Sheirer, I've got a question for you, a question for the other two commissioners. They'll be very brief. For you, Commissioner Sheirer, there was a decision made to locate the Office of Emergency Management at the World Trade Center Building 7, right in the nest of where the terrorists had struck in 1993. Why put it in one of the most likely places where people are going to come back and hit us again, and where it could be knocked out and not help us save lives? That's the first question.
First, I just want to make a quick comment. I think I speak for all of us that you're speaking to the choir. We lived through this. We know these families. We lost friends and colleagues. Nobody here feels as strongly about this other than the people behind us who lost their loved ones than we three do. On the issue of the location of OEM, I was not involved with that decision.
Did you agree with it?
You're going to have the opportunity.
Did you agree with it?
You're going to have the opportunity to ask the person who's most responsible for that questions about it tomorrow. I did not agree with it.
Okay.
I will tell you why I did not agree with it. I did not agree with it for the very reasons that you said. I did not agree with it simply because it was on the 23rd floor of a building. And do I look like a guy that wants to walk up 23 flights? You know, and tell me that the elevator's going to work. Yeah, Murphy was an optimist. It'll work. It won't work the time I'm walking up 23 flights. OEM should be located in a hardened and secured location. I understand the reasoning for putting it there. To get it there quickly, it was the most technologically advanced center. When I became director, I will tell you, there was no better emergency operations center. None. None in the world. The military came there. Everybody came there. I have to give Jerry a lot of credit. That center was the most technologically advanced that allowed us to deal with anything. The only problem is it had to be available to us when we really need it. And you really have to think beyond that simple location for that simple date. It's not simply 9/11. It's much further than that. It's every city in this country when they locate them in a common office building and don't think of what they're doing because, well, they just need a little office space. You need to make the commitment to understand this is a vital, vital facility. It should be in a hardened in a secured facility that people can walk up if there's no power, that people can get to in the event of weather, that nothing should impede your ability to use it.
Thank you, Commissioner. I wish that wisdom had prevailed. Commissioner Van Ussen, you have, according to the interview you conducted with the 9/11 staff, one of the last conversations with Ray Downey, an expert, very, very respected expert on building collapse. And he says something to you along the lines of, "Boss, I think these buildings could collapse." How does that inform your decision-making or your communication with other people? And what is the context of this remark?
He said that to me was right after the second tower was hit. We were still in the lobby. We all heard a rumbling. We didn't know what it was. Then it was confirmed that it was the second tower. It was also confirmed that the Sears Tower was hit, that the Mall of America was hit, that the Pentagon was hit, and that there was another plane that wasn't accounted for. So you couldn't really go by confirmations. You know, misinformation in the heat of battle like that is common. But we knew that the South Tower had been hit. And Ray said to me, and what always gave me, you know, strength afterwards, was that he was so knowledgeable. And if there was a person in the country that you would go to ask for advice in a situation like this, it would be him. Of all the hundreds of phenomenal fire chiefs in the country, Ray was top of the line when it came to special operations and collapses and things like that. So for him to say to me so matter-of-factly, just looking at me and saying, "Boss, these buildings can collapse," and it wasn't you know, like he would say to me in a different situation, "Tommy, get everybody out of here, you know, make sure that words, make sure that the mayor knows, make sure Gansey knows, you know, you got to get it." It wasn't like that. It was, these buildings can collapse, which gave me, you know, the sense that there was a lot of time that we had to do what he wanted to do, and that was to get everybody out. And he knew we had guys that were way up, and he knew we had to get them all out. And I truly believe that these chiefs, and there's no better, so you can make your experiments in a laboratory, in a classroom, wherever, but people in the scene, in a battle, like your generals in battle, these chiefs made decisions based on their best information, their best experience, and you lost tremendous experience that day. These guys thought they had a lot of time. Maybe it was going to be later that afternoon, but it could come down. But they had time to effectuate the rescue and get our own guys back out.
Well, I appreciate that, and we certainly lost the experts in the world in two areas, John O'Neill and Ray Downey. There are no finer people and no better advisors. Finally, Commissioner Kerik, you say in your interview with the 9/11 Commission, you're very helpful to us in talking about how poor the communications are that day. You complain about not being able to call the mayor on a cell phone. You talk about special operations division having problems communicating, and you even say that many people don't even know in the North Tower when the South Tower collapses. I would think that this would galvanize this community to really do something about this issue. Commissioner Sheirer said about an hour ago, the problem's still not fixed. We still have problems trying to get the dedicated broad width and the spectrum. What can galvanize this community to talk about one of the basic problems in trying to make sure the next one doesn't result in thousands of people dying, and that's improved communications? I would hope we would all gather together to address this. Is there some way you can lay out an answer and get some of the people in office now to address this issue?
Well, I think it is something that's being looked at and has been looked at and continually looked at since 9/11, particularly with all the focus on it. But I just want to remind the commissioners, on 9/11, there were major communications problems. But the people behind me and the people in the public and the people on this commission, they should also know that they weren't necessarily problems. A lot of those problems didn't occur from radio frequencies. You know, when the towers went down, the cell sites were lost. You know, I had communications with the mayor on the way to the scene. When I got there, they were gone. As the cell sites dropped, so did the communications. We operated on Nextel, then Nextel dropped. Then they came back up. You know, and the thing with the walkie-talkies, listen, I'm not an expert, but I can tell you this. Go to any of the communications companies out there. Go to the best. Go to Motorola. Go to the best there is. Show me one radio. Show me one radio that they will guarantee you this radio will go through that metal. It'll go through the debris. It'll go through the dust. You will have 100% communications 100% of the time. There is none. There is none. It's been 2.5 years. Show me one today. Everybody's looking at it. There is none. So there's a number of issues, but it is something that people are looking at.
Thank you, Commissioner. I just think we really have to solve that. We can't go year after year after year saying we're close. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.